Hello everyone and welcome back to round 8 of the F1 2006 Championship Edition Career Mode. Yes, we're back this weekend here for the British Grand Prix, of course. If you missed out on the last video that went live from Monaco, I would highly recommend going back and checking it out. Safe to say, the last couple of races have been terrible for us, so we really are hoping, as we move to our home Grand Prix, that we can have a good result this time out. Down to P7 in the Drivers' Championship, 24 points now away from Michael Schumacher at the top of the table there. Still 10 points covering our top 4. You can see Juan Pablo Montoya as well, been very, very consistent early on this campaign and is there or thereabouts as well. But yeah, returning home this weekend, like I said, we need to try and put on a good show for the Silverstone crowd. We need to return to, at the very least, scoring points. Hopefully, you know, getting a podium or maybe even a win. However, Silverstone is a pretty difficult track on this game, and the AI are not that bad around here either. Plus, there's always the risk of rain as well. Please, if you're new around here, make sure you hit that subscribe button as well. We are getting very, very close to 125,000 subscribers. And yeah, let's do this thing. Quickly though, before we get into this video, I want to thank all of the names you see on your screen. Without their continued support of the channel, none of the work we do here would be possible. And if you want to get your name featured on this list, you can click the join button or click the Patreon link down in my description below and support the channel from just £1 a month. You will also get access to weekly updates about everything going on behind the scenes, and also occasionally some early previews on videos. So yeah, a massive thank you to my YouTube members and my Patreon supporters, and let's get back to the video. Well, always nice to return home, and hopefully we're going to have the home crowd support as well this weekend. See Jenson Button as well, I'm sure we're looking for a good result, and maybe David Coulthard can try and squeeze something out of this one. But yeah, as I mentioned in the intro, so much about this race is just going to be dependent on whether we need, the rain tyres. Obviously, we ran pretty well here last season, and then the rain arrived and things went disastrously. So hoping it stays dry all weekend. But of course, got to get some laps under my belt. I was originally going to do a My Team video today, but yeah, after the disappointment of Monaco, this game, it just drags me back in.
It's time for Saturday qualifying here at Silverstone. The first knockout session is about to begin. Who will make it through to session 2 and who will make up the back of the grid? Let's find out.
Well, as I predicted then in free practice, yeah, the AI, this is actually one of their better tracks once again on this game. So I think this is probably going to be a little bit more similar to Barcelona in terms of the kind of race that we end up with. Hopefully not with the end of the Spanish Grand Prix as well. We've got a few tenths in the back pocket. But of course, no one else was pushing too hard in free practice. So let's wait and see what we can do in qualifying. Come on, get your Midland F1 car out of the way. That thing was a Grand Prix winner back in the... No, it wasn't. I never won with Midland, did I? The Super Aguri I managed to win a race with. That thing was almost a Grand Prix winner back in the day. It was a point scorer at the very least. But yeah, starting my first lap here in Q1 then. The other big question is, which of the back markers is going to be the shop Q2 entrant? Well, first lap then has felt pretty tidy. We want to be aiming for kind of a low 22, maybe a high 21.
Hosts a new lap time. He's made quite an impact with that lap.
And it is going to be a 22.0 then, so happy with that. That should be us safely out of Q1. Well, there we go then. Scott Speed once more will make it out of Q1. Actually saw both Toro Rossos there. Viantonio Luizzi, maybe the V10s of those Toro Rossos helping them down the straights against some of the other runners there. Coulthard in the Red Bull out. The AI, though, seemingly slower than they were in free practice so far. So I'm hoping we see a bit of an improvement. All of the AI then, the top runners, your Renaults, your Ferraris, they were in like the mid-22s in free practice. Somehow we move into qualifying. Track hasn't changed or anything. And Kimi Räikkönen now is top of the board with a 23.2. This game is still peculiar. We have got, I believe, a Ferrari, a Renault, and a McLaren directly behind me on the circuit at the moment. So we're all trying to gun for a fast lap time here. Oh, a little bit of mistake as we go through what is now the final chicane of the lap. I do miss the old Silverstone circuit rather weirdly. Hated it as a kid, pretty much for the final sector when driving it on games. That's more like it than by Felipe Massa, though, into the mid-22s. It's going to be Mark Webber then in his Williams is on the cusp. And hopefully we're about to knock him into the drop zone. Rosberg, of course, I believe, scored his first points of the year last weekend in Monaco. As we make our way through the final corner. Don't hit the grass, come on. Oh, it's really sloppy. Really poor. This is only going to be like a mid to high 22 in the end. There you go, 22.3 actually. Still good enough for P1. But yeah, everyone else is improving around us. Well, no real shocks there, apart from maybe Toro Rosso 2 seconds off anybody else at the end of Q2. So a little bit weird, but yeah, it's pretty much your usual suspects then into Q3. But we are aiming for a home race pole. Well, as we move into Q3 then, I have gone a little bit aggressive with the fuel. We want to try and make sure that we qualify this thing towards the front, just because I'm so scared of what Turn 1 is going to be like in race trim. However, again though, this is the first time we've ever driven here in a car that isn't a backmarker, so hopefully we're going to have a bit more front-end responsiveness through that first corner, as well as here down the end of the back straight. That is definitely not the line through there. We've got a Ferrari right behind me. I don't know whether that's Schumacher or Massa, but I have no intention of letting them by. Right, come on then. We've only really got one real shot of this. We want to carry good tyres into the Grand Prix. Giancarlo Fisichella, though, has run a 23.3 there, so that's very good with the fuel loads. I can only assume he's running quite light as well. As through Turn 1 there, a lot more of a blend than we did in Q1 or 2. Simply because the car weighs a bit more. In towards Maggots and Beckett's, down one gear on the entry, down another one through the second part, down a third gear as you try and get as close to the grass on the exit. That Ferrari is still all over the back of me here, so I think there's some mind games going on between myself and I believe it is the Michael, of course. That's who my money is on anyway, is down in towards this next corner, though. We had a look at the inside there. I think he just wants to rustle my feathers at the moment. See if he can put me off, as again he has another look. I think, yeah, no, the beef runs, you know, quite thick between myself and the German there. It's Alonso now goes on to a 23.2, so the AIR picking up the pace. Oh, a little bit of a mistake as we go through Abbey. Down the hill we go under the tunnel, swing it through the right-hander, this section of track. So much history around here. There's just a handful of corners to go. Come on, keep it tidy, stay away from the gravel. One more corner, a lot of understeer on the way in, so we'll try and swing in and get a good run off the corner. What is the time going to be? Are we going to go quicker than those Renault cars up towards the line? No, we are not. A 23.7, only good enough for P6, so we're going to have to go for another one. Oh, come on. Whoa, big slide. As that might allow the Ferrari a look down the inside there. We were pretty much even, though, by the end of Sector 1, and that was a pretty tidy sector. Come on, just go away, Ferrari. Keep it a bit tidier through here. Might be a bit more time to be had, just braking a little bit early. There's an apex, there's another one. What's the gap up then? Hopefully it's up anyway. We can't look at it. All I can see is we're green. Half a second up. This could be the difference maker. As long as we keep it tidy through these final couple of corners. Oh, a little bit sloppy there. But just keep it tidy through this last long flow and hairpin. It feels like it goes on forever. But roll on the power out of the final corner. Giancarlo Fisichella has once again improved. Are we about to go to pole? No, we are not. It is only P4. I can only afford one more lap because the tyres, they are going to be given up soon. That's the best we've taken Turn 1. But I so desperately want to start this thing from the front of the field. A lot of curb through Turn 2 and Turn 3 for good measure. But we'll try and springboard ourselves out onto the back straight.
Fernando Alonso, Felipe Massa, Michael Schumacher, Juan Pablo Montoya, Kimi Raikkonen, Rubens Barrichello, Jenson Button are all out on hot laps as I speak. Results should be coming in thick and fast throughout the session.
Well, we're pretty much now back down to our qualifying fuel, but 4 tenths up in Sector 1. Come on, we've just got to get our entire lap hooked up. We know the time is there. We know there's a bit of time to be had in the final sector. So let's hope we've got a bit of a buffer. Oh, we were pretty much even by the end of Sector 2. Can we just keep it a bit tidier? Can we gain just a little bit more time through this final corner? We are just all over the show at the moment. That's a pretty good run, though. No, it's not. We run a little bit wide. This has got to be our final outing as Giancarlo Fisichella once again improves. What's the time going to be? 23.0 out of nowhere. Come on, that has got to be us on pole. Well, look at that then. 1/10 of a second between myself and Giancarlo Fisichella. And you guys tell me this game is too easy. Fernando Alonso lines up P3 ahead of both Ferraris as well. So that's ideal for us if we want to take some points out of Michael Schumacher. But the only way we can do that is by scoring some points and finishing the race well. Let's do this thing. It's time for the British Grand Prix.
We're coming to you live from Silverstone for this year's British Grand Prix. Silverstone is the home of British motor racing. It was also the location of the first ever Formula One World Championship race back in 1950. Although the layout has changed over the years, the circuit still has some spectacular turns, including the sweeping Beckett's curves and the flat-out right-hander Bridge Corner. It's a clear day here at the moment, good visibility for the drivers. You have pole. Next on the front row is Giancarlo Fisichella. They're followed by Fernando Alonso in third, Massa fourth. Fifth is Michael Schumacher. Juan Pablo Montoya takes sixth. Seventh spot on the grid for Kimi Raikkonen. Rubens Barrichello completes row four.
Well, that has got to be the hardest pole I've worked for in this series. 1/10 of a second between myself and Fisichella. But this is going to be the difficult bit. Keep it on the island, keep it smooth, keep it clean and tidy. We deserve a win today in front of our home crowd. Surely, if we want a shot at the title this year. Come on, I want to see on every single lap the home crowd cheering us on here, trying to get that last little bit of temperature into the rear tyres. I'm getting a little bit annoyed watching those Super Aguras at the back of the track, not keeping up with the rest of the field. I do think that, though, is probably just Yuji Ide's raw pace in the car. But yeah, lining up then here on pole. It's happened so many times this year. We've got to convert this to a win.
Only seconds to go before we're racing. You can really feel the tension. We are racing! You got off to a great start. So does Fisichella. Here come the drivers ploughing into the first corner. You're in front out of the first corner. Next is Fisichella. Next is Alonso.
Well, Fisichella then immediately wants to go on the offensive here. Try to have a look down the inside of both turn 2 and turn 3.
Your tyres have reached a good heat and grip level should be pretty good.
Happy we've got the tyres up to scrub again, and happy the engine isn't going to stay completely cooked off the start of this GP. But only 18 laps here. It's a very, very short race, obviously because of the high speeds. But yeah, it just makes it really, really easy to make an error and very difficult to claw back the time. However, happy that I'm in a car that is faster down the straights, but it's certainly still got nothing against those Renaults or the Ferraris. Is Schumacher already up to P3, so he's up 2 spots then off the start of this one. That's not what we wanted to see. Hopefully Alonso and Felipe Massa can get back round him. And in the final corner though to finish that one. Happy that we are still at the front of the field, happy that we're still in the lead. But we just got to be very, very careful through T1. That is the danger corner around this lap. If you go anywhere near that outside curb, it likes to spit you off into the inside wall. The gap to Fisichella, 9/10.
The field looks like this. You now lead the race. Fisichella is second. Michael Schumacher third. He's up from 5th. 4th is Alonso. He's lost a place from his starting position. Felipe Massa is 5th. He slipped down from 4th. Montoya 6th. In 7th is Raikkonen. And Barrichello is in 8th.
Great first sector. That's the fastest time you've set so far.
Well, I was about to say I hate the way it always gets oversteered down the end of the hangar straight, but I also hate the fact that he always tells you that on lap 2. Of course I've set the fastest first sector. I'm the only one that's done it in race trim. Well, looks like Fisichella doesn't want to give me room to breathe either. We seem to be a bit quicker through the final sector of the lap. Already back down into the low 22s. You can see, yeah, Fisichella, I think they're running quicker. They've got to be running quicker than they did in qualifying. The AI are so wildly inconsistent in this game. See, I'm terrible, because when I am doing an F1 race, I do often think about other bits and pieces, you know, just with other videos I need to do or things like that. I cannot let myself do that on this game. I have to constantly be reminding myself to snap out of it, as it looks like we've already lost a BMW.
Fisichella is second. Michael Schumacher third. Fourth is Alonso. Felipe Massa is fifth. Montoya sixth. In seventh is Raikkonen. And Barrichello is in eighth.
Well, my guess then is that it's Jacques Villeneuve who's out of the Grand Prix. So we avoid the oil slick down the end of the hangar straight. That seems rather dangerous. Oh, that's about as wide as you want to run through turn one, but Fisichella, we are setting quick laps here, and he is just glued to my gearbox, floating at 1 second back, any kind of mistake, and he is ready to pounce.
You just beat your best time through sector 3.
There we go. First time all weekend, we've done a 121. And that's the first time as well. It looks like we've pulled out any kind of time over Giancarlo over the last few laps as well. But it's so difficult to get the lap nailed, especially on the controller. Well, the other thing I hadn't considered then, of course, was will some of the AI be able to undercut me? Did Ferrari, for example, run a bit more fuel in qualifying and might therefore try and get the jump? Because, well, slower traffic is going to be a real issue around this venue when we do inevitably have to pit early. Going to try and extend the stint as long as possible. Team on me in next lap, and I might try and go one further. Well, luckily we are starting to see more of the back markers into the pit lane then. And Carlo Fisichella seems to have dropped back slightly as Michael Schumacher the first to blink. Not what I was expecting from the German. Well, we're going to try and make sure the team know we're boxing now. I've clicked the button, but they haven't told me anything. Yeah, Michael Schumacher, very interesting.
The race. Fisichella is second. Alonso third.
Understood. You want to go in for a stop? Just a second.
So this will be interesting to see whether Michael comes out in any traffic, as the team still not have decided whether I can pit or not. I keep telling them, I keep asking for it. We're going to have to dive in at some point. Come on, you got to tell me. Can I box this lap or am I going to have to go one more? It's not green. We cannot afford to pit. You see that little shed at the bottom? Well, it's a garage, isn't it, really? That has to be green, otherwise the team won't service you. And currently, they do not look ready for us. What is going on? Fisichella now is starting to drop away a little bit, but we need to know that we can pit. It's got to be next lap, otherwise we are going to be out of fuel. Well, I keep telling them we need to pit. We're going to have to box this lap, no matter what happens.
You now lead the race. Fisichella is second. Alonso third. Massa fourth. Montoya fifth. Raikkonen sixth. Barrichello is seventh. And Trulli is eighth.
Well, I keep pressing the button for the
Sector
pits.
1, keep it going.
I must admit, though, car feels fantastic on next to no fuel. Feels really, really light and agile. We've pulled out a little bit over Fizzy, but we're going to have to pit now.
It's
And I got...
It's a retirement and a very unsatisfactory end to his race. Michael Schumacher was the other driver involved in that tussle. He seems to have got away with no damage, though. Very lucky indeed.
Of course he has, because he's Michael Schumacher, but Alonso then out of the Grand Prix. That must have happened as he came out of the pit lane. So drama everywhere at the moment. Don't spin now, please. But we're going to have to box, and I've got no idea if the team are going to service me, because the logo is still yellow. I don't know if there's a problem with my controller. I don't know what it's all about. Ugh. Don't spin, don't spin, don't spin. Come on, please. I don't want to lose this race like this. It's happened once before in this game, back when I was a moron in Season 1. I do not want to see it happen today. I can see a crew down there, but that's Toyota. No. What are they doing? Why won't they service me? We're going to run out of fuel. It's over. Surely it's over. I cannot believe this. I've told them loads of times to fuel, to put fuel in the car, to request the pit stop. Yeah, it's gone. What can I do?
Is second. Third is Heidfeld. He's up from fourth. In fourth place, Rosberg. Kimi Raikkonen fifth. He's slipped from third. Michael Schumacher sixth. Massa is seventh. And Webber is in eighth place.
Well, as you heard, the team said, yep, we'll check once about the fuel, and just never came back to me. So I've got no idea what that is about. But once again, we have been robbed in this game. I cannot believe the amount of bad luck we still seem to get. I have never had a glitch like that.
Silverstone comes up trumps again, another fantastic race. And so we conclude the final part of this first European leg. We'll be back here in mid-July to decide some of the other famous European races like Manicourt in France and the second German Grand Prix venue, Hockenheim. In the meantime, we travel to Montreal, Canada for another captivating F1 race on the famous Gilles Villeneuve circuit. Following that, we'll be revisiting the scene of much controversy with regard to tyres in 2005, Indianapolis. See you there in 2 weeks' time.
I reckon there has been a major glitch then in this game because most drivers seem to have run out of fuel at some point this afternoon. Nick Heidfeld is a Formula 1 Grand Prix winner out of nowhere at the end of this one. Nico Rosberg will come through for P2. I guess that's good for us in the championship because of course it means the likes of Michael Schumacher and co haven't outscored me. But that has got to be the strangest glitch I have ever seen. Jenson Button now relegates me down to P8 in the championship there, as there's 8 points covering the top 4 now in the drivers' table. Heidfeld leapfrogs his way up into P10. Christian Albers is now ahead of Jarno Trulli in the championship, and that is 3 critical points for Midland overall there. Ferrari and Renault now tied on 78 points apiece. We're now just 6 points ahead of Sauber BMW, and Midland now have scored points. They're just leaving Super Aguri on 0 points, but that has got to be the strangest bug I've ever seen on this game. If anyone can explain to me what's happened, I would appreciate it down in the comments below. But we will be back next week then when Formula 1 returns to Canada.